Welcome to New York Nonprofit Media. My name is Jeff Stein, and we're here in the CEO Corner with Charles Archer, the CEO of the Thrive Network, a new branding of EDC Spin, the former name of the agency, and we'll get into that soon. But Charles has done a lot of work for decades helping serving people in need with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Love to talk about your decades of work with serving that population and how the new rebranding with the Thrive Network is reflecting the work that you've done and also where the organization is headed in the future.
About 24 years ago, I started working with people with disabilities as a direct support professional. An opportunity to go to college during the day and to work at night. And what I've learned over the years is that people with disabilities want the same things in life that I want. And that kind of propelled me to kind of commit myself to providing those type of services to those people. So in 1995-96, when I co-founded Evelyn Douglin Center for Serving People in Need, at that time, we were really looking at servicing underserved and under-accessed communities. So in fast forward to 2015, we're at a place now where 20 years later, what do we want to become in order to continue to provide supports, but look at other people and other demographics and other needs. Mm-hmm. So the Thrive Network will become a network of services for more than just people with IDD, but people with other aging needs or homeless needs, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to get your thoughts about the process of rebranding. I know that it's something that a lot of nonprofits are thinking about in this environment, trying to attract more funding, attract more volunteers, just grow the organization in general and reflect maybe changing strategy, changing leadership, all of those sorts of things. Maybe if you could go into the process for the Thrive Network and where the organization is headed.
How we approached it was, it becomes more of a CEO, executive leadership coupled with the board of directors. I think the biggest thing that we did that was positive is we have an excellent board who believes in the organization as it is and who we need to become. So when you put those three individuals or those three groups of individuals together, then you have more of a consensus on where we need to go and people can flush out their thoughts. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I would add, and I believe, at least helped me as the CEO, is to bring in someone who could help you with the rebranding. Mm-hmm. There are moments where as a leader, you're expected to know it all and do it all, and those things are good, and in some ways you should. But we had the opportunity to work with a fantastic company that was really able to scan the space in New York State to see what names were used, what names wasn't used, what kind of logo should be used, right, and go through that process. So that was really what I think has pushed us to become the Thrive Network that we're going to become.
Well, speaking of leadership and everything that the role of CEO entails, I know that you're an author of a compendium of essays. Yes. On leadership philosophy. Everybody Paddles. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about the inspiration for that book, or the people that you tapped for all of those different perspectives and your perspective on it as well.
Well, in Everybody Paddles, a leader's blueprint for creating a unified team, I really lay out 6 principles that I believe have been able to create a culture of change, a culture where people believe that they matter and want to add value at work. Mm-hmm. Over the years, and I'm an attorney and I've done some teaching as well throughout the city, I realized that people come to work and they do feel devalued. Mm-hmm. And there's a sense of, do I have something that's worth contributing and will someone pay attention? So Everybody Paddles really has become a guide for people to understand that you are expected to add value at the Thrive Network. We don't want it just on Monday or Friday. We want it 5 days a week. Right. And your colleagues want it, and the people that we serve want it. So Everybody Paddles really has become about followership is as equally important as leadership. Mm-hmm. And without one, you can't have the other.
Right. Switching gears a little bit, I'd love to get your thoughts on, just the environment in general in the nonprofit industry sector is it's challenging
Yes.
right now, and I'd love to get your thoughts, maybe advice to other agencies navigating these troubling times, and also, what are your thoughts about what government partners need to bring to the table right now?
I think there has to be active participation, active communication, and active involvement. There can't be, as a nonprofit executive, there can't be the position where I'm going to expect government to come up with all the solutions. I'm not going to want to sit at the table with them and try to come to some kind of agreement of what can work and what can't work. But most importantly, from the government side, there has to be a willingness to listen. What happens very often is, as executives and nonprofits, we're on the ground providing literally needed services on a day-to-day basis. But what happens is, from the government's perspective, they don't know how the decisions that they make literally affect people on the ground very differently than what we might perceive. And the ability to have that active communication is definitely important. And then when we talk about involvement, as we participate at the Thrive Network in a lot of community activities. We sit at a lot of tables where the discussions are going on, not just so that we can know, but so that we can also try to influence some of the things that are happening for people.
Right, right. And what are your biggest advocacy goals, just driving the conversation right now, 2015? What do you think people need to be focused on?
I think people need to be focused on that, at least for IDD, is that the health services or delivery systems are changing. And yet some of it has to change. From the nonprofit's view, we understand that there are changes that need to be done. However, maybe not too fast, maybe a little slower pace, and also maybe some of the things need to be changed. From the government's perspective, there is also the understanding that we do appreciate all that they do. But at the same time, if we say that we're going to protect New Yorkers and provide services to New Yorkers and ensure that they have the things that they have, then we have to do that. We can't just say that in philosophy and not in implementation.
Right, right. Yeah, and how do you think the Thrive Network specifically is going to drive all of those changes in the future?
I do believe that the Thrive Network is going to be able to do that by its people. I would like to believe that the world sees leadership as not a silo. The Thrive Network is not going to be successful just because of Charles. It's going to be successful because of everyone that's an active participant at the organization. So as long as we are providing quality services, as long as our people are happy with what they're providing and what they're receiving, and as long as we're at the table where we can influence discussions and be involved in things and people see us as a player in service delivery, I think the Thrive Network will do fantastic things in this city.
Yeah, and you have already an impressive infrastructure. I was reading, I think, 30 different facilities across New York City.
Much more than that,
Right,
but
okay.
it's like in our residential services area, there's about 30, a little bit more than that.
Okay.
But we provide, in addition to residential, day support services, after school, Saturday recreation, service coordination, crisis management, a lot of different family support services that are valuable, and people do depend on us. So for us at the Thrive Network, that dependence really does drive our movement.
Yeah, and in terms of the people that you serve and all across the boroughs, what do you think those people need the most right now from the industry as a whole?
Yeah. That's a very good question, because everybody needs something different.
Right.
So trying to match the need with the economics of that decision is a big thing. And what has happened is people or families are not just thinking about now. There are seniors who are raising individuals with IDD who are in their 50s, and the parents are in their 70s or 80s. So people are projecting 5 years down the road. So I think that the biggest challenge is, how do we match the need and desire with the economic and the reality of, can we do everything that we want to do for people?
Yeah, and also engaging the community as a whole.
Absolutely.
Getting society to understand the importance of integrating and accepting all of the people that you serve. What are your outreach efforts like to get that message across?
Again, we attend councils. We've done some other public events and public things. We are this July doing an art exhibit to display our consumers' art in a gallery amongst other artists, because it's kind of those community things that people are going to begin to see. When people think of disenfranchised groups, they've typically thought of Black and Latino groups, but there's still the subset of gay and lesbian groups who are disenfranchised. There's still the subset of IDD people who are not received in society, or even seniors. So how do we integrate who we are in the community will be how things happen.
Great. Well, thanks so much for sharing all of that about the Thrive Network, and much success with the new rebranding. I'm sure it will be wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.